Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special webinar. We are joined here today with Dr. Pillai, who will talk to us a bit about the importance of India and the role of the Golden Age, how sacred and the importance of sacred power spots in India, as well as our upcoming trip to India that's happening in the fall.
For about 25, 30 years, I have been taking people from the West or all over the world to India. Mysteriously, that got stopped for the past 3 or 4 years. And mysteriously, it is going to begin now. The only change is I will join not physically, but spiritually, and also on videos where I will do from wherever I am. So what's the importance of going to India? India is known for her spirituality. It is the land of enlightened beings. And their primary goal is to help people to dissolve their karma or sins. And that is the main reason I used to take people on these pilgrimages to various temples. The Siddhas are living still there in the temples, along with the gods and goddesses who are responsible for removing karma. So, if everyone can afford to go there, it should be considered as a priority in your life. The place where I was born, Rameshwaram, there are wells, some 25 or so wells. The water have the ability to dissolve sins. And the problem of any human beings is primarily is due to the planets. The ups and downs in life are attributed to the planets. This is literally true, and I have done a lot of research, and I can prove that through the Nadi astrology. Nadi astrology will tell you who your father is, your mother is, your job is, everything without knowing anything about you except your thumbprint. It is all based on astrology. So astrology is real. So the temples are all associated with planets and the gods who are associated with the planets. So there are three different, three different periods. October 14th, 12th, 22 is the 9 nights of the goddess. It's not going to be just only confined to the 9 nights of the goddess. You will also will be taken to one place where all the 9 planets are there, and it was established by the divine beings to help you to dissolve your karma, And especially, what comes to my mind is Saturn. Saturn is a planet who will just fry you, financially, physically, emotionally, and for a reason people say to prepare you for the next stage. It is true, but I don't like the truth. But there is a solution. There is a Hanuman temple where Hanuman ties up all the planets in his long tail along the 27 stars. And I'm going to include that as I'm just giving this, introduction to you. I'm adding these two things, so that will be included in the first trip. Depending upon it, I will also give instructions to people where you have to be, you have to go. And 9 nights of the goddess is important, particularly for the next 6 months, if it falls within the next 6 months. Within the next 6 months, there will be tremendous amount of changes that will happen in this world. And these changes include good and bad things, good changes and bad changes, and good changes for good people, but bad changes for bad people. And because we are now preparing ourselves, the earth plane is preparing herself for the golden age, which is an incredible age, and my focus is primarily on the golden age called Satya Yuga. And I very much look forward it for the sake of planet Earth. Planet Earth wants very much to have liberation for herself. I'm not going to talk about it. There are a lot of temples here. I will say there is a Ganesha temple, which is a very special temple that can change your destiny, and it's listed here. And then there's a temple where there are different suns in the galaxies. It's not our solar system is the only system. But the Siddhas found out that this sun temple, which is a very temple, it was discovered only a few years ago. It was buried under. Siddha came and revived it. It will be taken there so that you will get the blessings of sun, the highest intelligence from the sun. And I cannot go over all of them. There are a number of temples. Each one, is dedicated to a goddess, and then the people will give you, who take you there will give an introduction. There will be guides also available in India who will accompany you. And that is 14th through the 22nd. And the trip 2 is October 22nd to 25 is mostly karma removal, primarily focused on that. That seems to be a very important thing, for you to do. I will give priority to that to be included in the trip. If you could join that, and it can, because it is a very, very important thing to go to. The reason why you go to India is to remove your karma, because India is primarily known for our temples to remove karma, to change your destiny, and then give you a better life. And especially during this time of the Satya Yuga, or the upcoming Satya Yuga. Then there is a third trip, which is going to be the full moon days, 4 days in Arunachala, where Raman Maharshi lived. It is the most important temple for Shiva and for higher evolution. And then close by is the most famous Sangali temple. So that seems to be a very interesting trip also for you to consider. Arunachala is a place known because of Raman Maharshi, who attained Samadhi there in Arunachala. It is a temple which will also remove your karma, and primarily your ego. The ego is the worst thing that human beings cannot remove. And this place, has a special energy to remove ego. Now, I'll tell you what your ego is. Ego is, regardless whether you have money or education or anything, your identity is only with your ego. When you talk to somebody, you always want to prove that you know better than the other person, that you are better than the other person, and also want to put down. And that this is the worst thing. Okay. And, you cannot be without your ego, even for a few minutes. So he is involving me. And that place, Arunachala, has the ability to remove karma. Besides, the most important thing is he removes, the mountain removes ego. At least if it doesn't remove totally, at least 75% of the ego will be gone if you go around the temple a few times. That's the reason why people go to Arunachala. And then there is also a Angali temple. Angali is the one who is the goddess who gives you Siddhi powers. So that is also a very, very rare temple, and I'm very happy that you can also be able to go there during this trip. So my participation will be is I'm going to control the temples and where you visit and what the mantras are there, and then there will be audio clips that I could make for you, or sometimes videos. Definitely audios, and then you can listen to that, and then for some of the temples where you go. So going to India, remember, finally is not a picnic. It's certainly not a picnic, especially for those of us who have lived here in this part of the world, on which is more luxury, comfort to the flesh, not to the spirit. But when you go to India, it is not so much for the flesh. Of course, the flesh will be relieved of its bad karma creating diseases, but mostly to awaken your spirit, especially going there at this time. Okay, so I strongly recommend that you make the trip, which is a very rare occasion, especially during this time, which to be in India is extremely, extremely helpful to not only remove your karma, but to prepare you for the golden age. God bless.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pillai, for joining and giving us that important message. So, folks, I know some of you in chat are asking questions. Ask away. I will be here to help you understand all about the trip itself. So first, Dr. Pillai did give us the dates, which is fantastic. I will go through more details of what the trip entails, as well as some important dates that you need to know. So, for example, if you are interested in the trip, it is important that you would register or let us know by August 11th, because at that time, prices may change because we have to confirm with hotels. So August 11th is a big date. Another important date is that we have an early bird savings that expires on July 31st. So please take a look at the sales page and a registration page. In fact, I will share it so that we can understand a bit about it. First of all, let me just welcome you and say we're so excited to go to India for the first time in over 3 years. It's been 3.5 years since we've taken a group to India. As Dr. Pillai said, he will not be physically on this trip, but he will be guiding it energetically the entire way. I want to let you know that my first trip was to India with Pillai Center was when he was supposed to be on it physically, and at the last minute, he was not able to go. And till this day, 22 years later, it is still one of the most impactful, transformational journeys to India that I have ever taken, because he energetically will create an empowerment. And he just said, I'll control the temples. He'll be controlling the whole thing. And I just know this from experience. It was my first trip. I just met Dr. Pillai a year before. He wasn't physically there, but he guided the whole thing. And I just left a whole different person. In fact, when I got back from that trip, I lost my job, which seemed like a bad thing, but then I got a job paying nearly double a few weeks later. My whole life changed. It was incredible. So please do not worry that Dr. Pillai won't be physically on this trip. He will be on this trip in other ways. In fact, the first day we get to India, we'll have a session with him so that he can really impart his wisdom and instructions on how to follow through for the coming days that you'll be there. For example, when we had this trip and he wasn't able to go, he actually met us at the airport, which was a huge blessing, and gave us a mantra to chant for the whole time. And that was just like all I needed to know. I was like, okay, this mantra, doing it continually for the next 7 days. So our first session with Dr. Pillai, I feel like is going to be that. It's going to be our opportunity to have him give us instructions on how to use this time, what to do. He'll be just there. And then he will be giving us 3 different initiations into different goddesses during those 9 nights. So 9 nights of the goddess we'll be in India the entire time. We'll arrive on the first night of Navaratri. You'll leave on the last night of Navaratri. And as he said, it is the most important time, very powerful time to be there in the sacred vortexes of the goddesses during her heightened time. It's her most powerful time of the whole year, the goddess, where she comes to the earth plane and destroys negativity and creates transformation, removes karma, gives blessings. You will be within this power time at her vortexes. Temples are empowered spots of location energy that is concentrated. And when you walk into these temples, I have literally felt the energy just lift off me, the negativity lift off me, or an empowerment come towards me from the goddess in the statue. It's unlike anything else in the world to go to India and to walk into these power places and then just receive immense blessings. In fact, one of the quotes from Dr. Pillai says, no matter how many seminars no amount of seminars you attend can give you the same amount of transformation, same amount of blessings as going to India and walking into these temples and experiencing this, this energy, this darshan, this energy transmission. So the first trip is going to be all about the goddess. It's 9 nights. We'll be there for the full Navaratri. We'll be going to Chennai, where you'll be landing. And then we'll be going to Kumbakonam, also called Swami Malai, which is like the temple capital of India. There's more temples in that town than anywhere else. So it's highly concentrated in spiritual energy. We will be going to a variety of different temples there: Varahi, Angali, Saraswati, Parvati, Durga, Lakshmi, all the goddesses, as well as some very interesting other temples, such as Sharaba for destroying negativity, or Arunachala temple for manifesting. The temple where Dr. Pillai, well, I should say, Arunachala was given to Dr. Pillai by a saint, and this is his samadhi, or his power spot is here in this temple. We'll be going there. You can chant. We'll be chanting Arunachala. And during this 9 nights, when you first arrive, you will be receiving a Shri yantra. Yantra is a machine, right? It's a Shri yantra, which holds the energy of all the goddesses, and a little travel puja kit that you'll take with you to all the different temples and all the different locations. And the first night, we're going to go to Dr. Pillai's temple in Chennai, where if you watch any of the Ashtarved ceremonies, you'll see all these grand statues. That's where you'll go. And we'll have our first fire ritual there to kick us off this amazing trip. And you'll have your little puja kit with your yantra, and you'll energize your yantra in that ceremony. You'll then take that yantra to every temple and every power spot and every ritual that gets performed. Your yantra will be there being empowered. And then when you leave the trip, you're taking that with you. You're taking that energy, that empowerment, that kind of blessing that's been baked into this yantra, and taking it with you to just continually churn out the goddess mantras that you've empowered it with, the goddess energy. So you'll have your yantras, you'll have your travel puja kit. We'll be going to a variety of different temples. We are specially arranging rituals that aren't normally done, especially for Westerners, at different temples. So for example, if you walked into any temple, you would maybe be able to get an archana, go up and, they do the light offering to the deity. But we are specially arranging hydration ceremonies and fire rituals at several different key temples throughout the trip. So that means we're going to get there, we're going to sit down, we're going to have this amazing ritual being performed to this the statue, the goddess or god who's embodying that that location, the sanctum sanctorum, is the sanctuary of the divine being where all the energy is held. So you will be experiencing all of that, as well as Dr. Pillai's initiations that will happen throughout that first 9 days of the goddess trip. Now, if that's enough for you, fantastic. That's 9 full days. The timing on the calendar works out perfectly because it's 2 weekends and a week and a full week. So hopefully it won't disrupt your taking off too much of work. So that's the first 9 days. Then if you want to, you can go home at that point. If you want to extend, then you'll have an opportunity to go to Madurai, which there's going to be the Meenakshi Temple of Madurai is one of the most grand, most important temples of all of India. It's very famous. Usually they don't let Westerners in. We have been blessed to be able to get into it recently and are planning again. There's also a very important Karpasamy temple in Madurai. Then we're going to travel to Vijayapati to see Vishwamitra's temple. I've been there many times and it is literally one of my most favorite places on earth. You can feel his compassion, his love. It's so powerful. You will see where he sat and meditated. You'll see the temple that he built to worship Shiva. You will see the temple that he went and worshiped Kali. It's just incredible. So Vishwamitra, the father of Brzi, gave Dr. Pillai the Brzi mantra. We'll be going to his temple. Then we'll be traveling down to Rameshwaram, Dr. Pillai's birthplace, which is one of the most premier karma removal places on the entire earth plane. You'll be bathed in 21, I think 22 wells of water, which means they pull these buckets of water up from the well and then dump it on your head. And you'll do that 20 something times. But before that, we'll be bathing in the ocean and be cleansed, where Rama came to, after he slayed the demon Ravana in Sri Lanka and came to Rameshwaram to cleanse his sins. So very significant karma cleansing location. Not only is it Dr. Pillai's birthplace, and he was able to steep in this karma cleansing energy for first 18 years of his life, but is where Rama came to cleanse his sins for killing the demon king. You'll be going to the temple where Rama built the Shiva Lingam out of clay in order to perform his ritual. You're going to Nambunayaki temple. Dr. Pillai talked about this, where that goddess, Nambunayaki, literally healed his mother as an infant. You will be going to Dr. Pillai's family temple, Rakakshi, the goddess who can give is wish fulfilling. We'll be going to that temple, all on Rameshwaram. And then that trip will end. That's 4 days. There's a lot happening in 4 days. And then for those of you who want to go home, you'll go home. And for those of you who want to keep staying with us, we will go to Tiruvannamalai, or the mountain of fire, Arunachala, during the full moon, and we'll be there for 4 days. We'll be staying at a lovely hotel, which is just beautiful grounds. And you always see this view of the mountain. And we will go to all the temples around the mountain. There's several of them. There's something called Girivalam, which is when you travel around the mountain, and how important that is. It's cleansing your karma. The inner path that we used to be able to walk on foot is no longer open. So we will be going on this outer path. So for those of you who want to walk, you can walk. And those of you who want to drive or take a scooter, we'll arrange that as well. So we'll be going around the mountain several times and doing it in the way that's most convenient for whoever physically is able to do it. Dr. Pillai has driven around it. So that counts. We'll be doing that for sure. But there's temples there. There's Dr. Pillai talked about that Shiva temple, Shiva in the form of fire. And then there's different Shiva lingams all around the temple, the mountain. And even if just walking around, you'll see it. It's just such a holy place. When you're there, you're just literally constantly vibrating with Om Namah Shivaya. At least I was. It was just, it just purifies the heart to be in that location. And we'll be there during the full moon. It's the most important time to be there during the full moon, this heightened energy. Pilgrims come from all over India just to walk around the mountain on the full moon. So it's really important for us to hold hotel rooms because they're already booking up in advance for every full moon in that town. So that's, and then taking day trips. The Golden Temple is just a beautiful 100-acre park-like structure that has really beautiful Vishnu and Lakshmi statue that I've had experiences with. It's an experience. And then, as Dr. Pillai said, we'll also be traveling to one of the most powerful Angali temples that there are. Speaking of Angali, when you go to in the first trip, I meant to say this, we'll be going to the Angali temple where Dr. Pillai has taken us many times, and we'll be walking around her sanctum and touching this particular rock that holds Siddhi powers. So that one's really special too. So, and as you see on the registration page, you'll see that we've highlighted some special goddesses that Dr. Pillai has been talking about, specifically performer goddesses of the Golden Age. Varahi, she's coming with her weapons to help us perform better. She's a fast acting. Angali, the mother goddess of Siddhi powers, who wants to help us and act fast. Those are the kind of premier goddesses of the Golden Age. We'll also be connecting with Srimbrzi Lakshmi, with Meenakshi, with all the other goddesses that I mentioned. So that's the 3 trips in a nutshell. I'd be happy to take some questions, and I will walk through the sales page a bit just so that you can understand all that's on there, because there's quite a lot going on, and I want to make sure that you understand it all. Okay. Okay, so you should see my screen. Here is the page. Remembering that July 31st is when the early bird savings ends. You'll want to register by then in order to receive that. And let me see if there's other questions here. So Dr. Pillai is guiding our journey, as he mentioned. He also mentioned why it's important to go to India, the sacred locations, how the goddess is so important. And then here's the overview of the 4 trips that I mentioned, or 4 options, I should say. You can go on trip 1, which is the goddess trip. You can go on, so option 1 is the goddess trip for the 9 days. Option 2 is the goddess trip plus the extension, the 4-day extension. Option 3 is all 3 of those trips. And option 4 is just Arunachala. But you cannot go just on the extension trip because we're going to be really immersed already and on the way. So those are the options. If you can go just to Arunachala, you can go just to the goddess, or you can go to goddess plus extension, or all 3. Okay. I talked about the energizing of the yantra, and then the variety of, and then the goddesses that we'll be meeting, and the temples, the specific temples we'll be going to. Angali, Varahi, Dr. Pillai's Prayer Center, Srimbrzi. This Temple of a Million Suns is so beautiful. It's a very small temple that Dr. Pillai found and installed a Sundara Mahalakshmi at, and she is just gorgeous. The extension trip that I mentioned is for karma cleansing and manifesting, because we're going to both Rameshwaram as well as Vishwamitra's not birthplace, but Vishwamitra's temple. And then to Madurai to see Meenakshi and a very powerful Varahi temple. Arunachala, the full moon of the full moon of Shiva's mountain of fire. And I talked about this as well. So I really covered all of it. Please note, this itinerary is important because it will show you every single temple. We just didn't want to put on the sales page, but download this if you are interested. And as I mentioned, we will be having special abhishekams or hydrations and fire rituals at select temples. That's me. I will be with you so I'll be with you the entire time. I've been traveling to India with Dr. Pillai since 2001. I've been there more times than I can count. I literally lost count. And I will be able to impart to you the stories that he's told at the variety of temples along the way. And I will be in continual contact with him throughout the trip and passing on messages. So here's where you want to choose your participation, which experience, the goddess trip itself, and you'll see that the savings are here. So you'll, if you register by July 31st, Price-wise, this is lower priced than any of our other trips because Dr. Pillai won't be there. We won't be accommodating him physically, which is more costly. So price-wise, we've kept this as low as we possibly can, and I'm really happy about that so that more people can join. Here's your extension trip. The Goddess plus the extension trip if you want to stay from October 14th through the 26th. And then there's payment plans. So the thing about the payment plan is that you do need to register with the payment plan by August 31st. After that, the payment plans go away because there just won't be enough time for us to schedule those payment plans options. And then if you want all-inclusive trip, every single one of the trips, here's the price. You'll save $200 if you register by July 31st. And then Arunachala only. Arunachala only, here's the price. And again, a savings for July 31st and payment plan options for both of these. Please note, these are double occupancy pricing, meaning you will share a room with somebody. If you want single occupancy rates, click there and you'll see how much it would cost to have a room to yourself. We will be traveling together via bus. So all of our travel within India is in group. It's just the double experience, the single experience if you want that in you just having your own room. Again, here are the trip options. Please note that prices do not include your flight to and from India. It includes everything else though. Once you arrive in India, we take care of everything. We take care of your food. We take care of, this is important because the reasoning behind this is significant to the experiences you have in India. We've designed it so that we take care of everything once you arrive in India, because we don't want you to think about it. We don't want you to think about how you're getting anywhere. We don't want to think about when you're eating, what you're eating. We don't want to think about like what you need to wear. We're going to take you shopping on the first day. You need to purchase those, but we're taking care of all of your physical needs so that all you need to worry about is your spiritual progress, is being fully present, is being immersed in the energy of these temples and the gods and goddesses that we'll be visiting. So that's really important that you know that, and that's a key part of how we run these trips. And let me get back to our page. Okay, so includes everything: your meals, your hotel, your internal flights within India, your bus, your transportation. Only thing you need to worry about is if you want to purchase anything in India, like that would be on you, right? Anything, any other purchases or any meals outside of what we feed you, which is 3 meals a day. And then you have to purchase your flight to get to Chennai, to and from Chennai. And once you register, you'll receive so many different details of exactly what you need. Booking deadlines. The prices that we have right now are valid through August 11th. Why? Because we've arranged and negotiated with the hotels and the internal travel services such as flights. We know right now what they would cost up until August 31st. It is a popular time in India. October is a very popular time. That means flights get booked up, hotels get booked up, and that means our prices increase. And when our prices increase, we have to pass that on to you. So we are confirming that all these pricing stays the same until August 11th. After that, we don't have confirmation. That is the deadlines we've received from the airlines and the hotels. So we will be updating the page after August 11th if the prices have changed. Hopefully they don't, but we have no control over that. Double occupancy, I mentioned that already. Cancellation policy, if you cancel before August 11th, you'll get completely refunded, because we will get completely refunded from anyone we've paid. If you cancel by September 1st, you'll get a 75% refund because we'll be losing money at that point. We're just only holding back money that services we've already paid for and cannot retrieve, such as flights. Once we book your domestic flight within India, we do not get any of that money back. So That's reasoning. And if you cancel before October 1st, you'll get a 50% refund. If you cancel after October 2nd, then I believe it's no refund because the trip will be there. We have prepaid for all the hotels, everything for you. Passports and tourist visa. Please check with your consulate, check with what you need to do in order to enter India. We are not responsible for that. It's different in every country, different for different people. So you are responsible for obtaining your visa. Packing and first-time travelers, you will receive a lot of documents once you register for the trip, and we will support you. In fact, what I will be doing is having a Zoom session with everyone who registers before the trip to help really just prepare for, if you've never been to India, to help prepare you for what it's like, what type of things you really need, stuff like that. And then if you want to speak to someone in our organization, a trip advisor, we can set up a consultation. Proxy participation is coming soon. So some of you have already been asking me about if you can't make it to India right now, is there a way for you to participate? And the answer is yes. So we will be having a yantra being made with your birth details on it. That yantra will be traveling with us to all the different temples. In the past, I've literally carried this huge plate of yantras from temple to temple and walked it right up to the beginning or the front of, to the priest and got it right at the feet of the goddess. Like the yantras were getting closer to the goddess than we were as people who were physically there. So these yantras will be empowered and blessed in all of the temples. It might not be on the Tiruvannamalai or the Arunachala trip, but definitely the goddess trip and the extension trip, which is all the goddess temples. It is the wells in Rameshwaram will be bathed, your yantra will be bathed, Vijayapati with Vishwamitra. So all the big ones, right? It'll be all taken care of. You will, as a member who is participating via proxy, we will also see which live sessions Dr. Pillai will do with the group. Not the intro one where people arrive, but perhaps the goddess initiation. So those details are being worked out and we will let you know as soon as we do. All right, let me go to see if there's questions now. Right. Can we just do the extension only without the 9-day trip? Of course, James is literally the only one I said you can't go on by itself. I can't say no to James. If it is not part of our payment structure. However, if you are coming to India and want to go just on those 4 days, we'll help accommodate you. Just write us. We just have to work out the pricing because we didn't want to put another option on the sales page. There's a lot there already. If you need special exceptions, let us know. We'll work it out. I can't say no to you. Will boons and wishes be granted to attendees? That it depends on the attendees' karma and their relationship with the goddess, but usually, yes. I don't think I've ever seen anyone leave an India trip like not pleased, not satisfied with the experience. I never have. Every single trip I've been on has been some sort of transformation. I used to liken it to like taking a pill. It's like if you go on an India trip, you will return a different person. Like something will happen in your life that transforms your consciousness. There'll be aha moments that, they'll be quickening, like where you're feeling the presence of God. So yeah, I've never had that not happen on India trips. Which Hanuman temple? I don't know that there is a Hanuman temple actually on our itinerary. Dr. Pai mentioned we'll be going to the 9-planet temple where all the 9 planets are present. So once you go there and you're worshiping each of the sun temple as well as all the 9 planets. All right. Any virtual options? Okay, I did go. Thank you to Poonam. I mentioned those. We have to book our own flight. Yes, you have to book your own flight from wherever you live to Chennai. MAA is the code, or the airport. You need to get to Chennai. So even if you're flying to India somewhere else, just you need to end up in Chennai. We will pick you up at the Chennai airport. So however you get there otherwise. Caroline said, the most amazing trips ever. Yeah. So the people who've been on trips, light up the chat and let people know, because it's like you just don't know until you've experienced it. And it's nothing short of just like a miraculous experience every time. So yeah. Will priests be available to consult attendees on personal matters? No, priests typically don't do that in general. They're not like coaches or consultants in general, especially when we're going into a temple and they're performing the ritual for us. And then we usually leave and go to the next temple. So we're not, and most of them don't speak English as well. All right, other questions? Marina said, thank you so much, beloved Babaji. With your blessings, these trips are so powerful and transformational. I know this from my own experience. Mm-hmm. Question. Heard you say hotels. We sleep in our own rooms every night. So we'll be traveling through, we'll be traveling throughout India. We'll be staying at beautiful hotels. I think they're 4 or 5-star hotels all the time. So you go to Chennai, we'll be staying at a 5-star hotel. We'll be going to Kumbakonam. Kumbakonam, or Swami Malai, is as I mentioned, a temple town. It does not have large hotels. We're staying at this wonderful heritage hotel, and it used to be owned, it is land of a Brahmin who was a holy person, and this land is just gorgeous. And it's an experience in and of itself just being there. There's statues all throughout the property. All the rooms are different. There's some like little cottage looking ones. There's some like, bigger rooms in what they're calling the palace area. So it's just this gorgeous, interesting heritage hotel. So anyway, we'll be there all week. And they also have like deer roaming around and animals roaming around, but it's all wonderful. So that's your hotel there. Then we'll be moving to Madurai, which has nice hotels, very nice hotels, modern. Then we'll go to Rameshwaram, and we'll be staying in another nice hotel. Rameshwaram is small, so we're not getting our like super high-end 5-star hotels, but it'll be a fine hotel. And then there's either single occupancy or double occupancy in your room, which means double means you share it with one other person. So there's 2 people in a room. That's what the prices are based on. If you do not want to share a room and you want to be single in your own room, then you would pay this single occupancy. And then that means throughout the whole trip, you would be alone. You just have, you wouldn't have to share your room with anybody. It's a different price because we're paying, obviously, for just one person versus 2 people. So if you're interested in single occupancy, just scroll to the bottom, click on that link that says single, and you'll see the pricing for that. Another issue is in terms of filling up, these hotels will fill up. That is also why by August 11th, if you know you want single occupancy, you need to tell us as soon as possible, because once these hotels start filling up, we won't have as many rooms available. So if single occupancy is your priority, then I would definitely register by August 11th and secure that, because they're already filling up. So it's just the perfect time to be in India. See other questions. Yes, payment plans are available. So I did mention that and showed you on the sales page. Okay. Is vaccination required? I do not believe India requires any vaccination. You can, if you are worried about tetanus or other diseases, you would want to consult your healthcare provider and physician. Back in the early days, I went to like a travel clinic to see if I needed any shots, and they'll recommend some things and you can make a decision based on whatever works best for you. You definitely want mosquito repellent, things like that, but we'll give you that type of list of like things to bring, type of like stomach medication, stuff like just in case type of things, and how to be prepared. We will help you with all of that. And that's why I'll have a live session with folks in preparation too, so that you're fully prepared once you arrive in India. Caroline said, I have been to India 2 other times with groups. These far exceed those spiritual trips. You feel completely cared for by the staff, and the temples are amazing. Babaji always with us in spirit. Absolutely, Caroline. Absolutely. There's a mention about Indian clothes. So I know it's not always, well, first of all, a lot of us will be Westerners going to these temples, and you stand out, right? Lots of different colored skin. We want to blend in as much as possible, and we want the locals to know we are there to honor their religion, not to be just tourists. We're not walking in and taking pictures. We're there because we want to experience the energy of that power spot. So one way to do that is to dress appropriately. So we'll be taking you shopping in Chennai to get some Indian clothing. So you don't have to worry about trying to get it wherever you are and paying more for it. Go to India and purchase there. If you know you need certain things, of course, you'll bring it with you. But one of the ways we're supporting you is to take you shopping in the first day. Is a COVID vaccination needed? I don't believe so, but please double check with, I really don't think so, but you can double check with India consulate, I believe. Will the travel buses have bathroom facilities as the journey are long? The buses themselves, at least last time I was there 3 years ago, do not have toilets in them. We make stops though. We always make stops. So you don't need to worry about that. Sometimes those stops are on the side of the road and there's a nice field somewhere. It's just what happens in India. But most of the time, we're able to travel through little towns and find a restaurant or hotel and use the facilities. So we're always taking care of you physically. Don't worry about that. We do have some lists of things to bring, like, a little shawl for the bus in case it gets chilly, or slip-on shoes so that when we take our shoes off every time we go to the temple. So we'll give you that full list and make sure that you're prepared. Any other questions? I've been waiting for this for 23 years. Yeah, super. Now's the time. Like Dr. Pillai said, there's no better time to go to India than now. With the coming of the golden age and India's role in that, the energetic power spots that you'll be able to absorb that energy from, and going at this perfect time during the 9 nights and being guided by Dr. Pillai, it's like everything has conspired together to make this the perfect trip. So I look forward to seeing many of you there. As I mentioned, I will be guiding the trip. I will be there with you the whole time. I'm excited to pass on all the information that Dr. Pillai has given at each power spot along the way. The trips are long in between temples sometimes, so we chant, we meditate, we use the time wisely, or if you just want to go inward, it's really a spiritual journey. And Dr. Pillai mentioned, he mentioned it earlier, and he's always said this. This is a pilgrimage, not a picnic. So that is what you'll be getting, a rich spiritual experience in the motherland of India, who will be pouring her love upon us and enriching our souls, and we'll be traveling into the heart of the goddess along these 9 nights. And if she is inviting you, if she is calling you, and then it is up to you to respond to that call. And if there's anything that we can do to support you, just let us know. Write to us, office@pillaicenter.com, and we will answer all of your questions. We do have the payment plans and the payment in full. August 11th is really important, as I mentioned, and July 31st, if you would like to take advantage of the early bird savings. And I want you to save as much money as you can. Let us know, join by July 31st. If you know for sure that you're going to come, but aren't able to make the first payment plan or pay in full, let us know. And with special exception, we could do a deposit. It would be a non-refundable deposit, because once we receive your deposit, we are paying for flights and hotels for you within India. So if that's something you need, it's not on the sales page right now, but if it's something you need as a special arrangement, let us know, and we'll be making decisions on an individual basis for that one. But we always try to help you as much as possible. All right, I think that's everything. Well, thank you all for being here with us today. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to go to this trip with you. India is calling us, and it is time. It is time to go back to the mother. So, like I said, if you have any questions, let us know, and I'll see you in October. Before that, I'll see the folks who register in a session that we do to talk about everything you need. And that's it for now. Namaste. Lots of love to everyone.
सर्वलोकाय आदित्याय शिवशद्गुरु श्रीं बृजी स्वाहा सर्वलोकाय आदित्याय शिवशद्गुरु श्रीं बृजी स्वाहा सर्वलोकाय आदित्याय शिवशद्गुरु श्रीं बृजी स्वाहा